Hello, I'm Sammy Faircloth of Travel, Touring and Trips, and I'm here at the lovely Cheddar Club site. And as you can see, the beautiful hills in the background. Now, I'm doing something a little bit different today. I'm interviewing my twin sister.
Hello?
Now, my twin sister, she doesn't caravan.
No.
So I thought it'd be fun to interview her and find out what are her thoughts of caravanning, because we used to caravan as children, but Micky hasn't in adulthood gone caravanning. So let's find out. Okay, Micky, when I said we were going caravanning, what did you think? Now, be honest.
Well, the first things that came to mind when I think of caravanning are pot noodles and powdered potato, chemical toilets, and family time, playing card games, having lots of fun with the family.
So now you're here. What are your first impressions?
Whoa, well, I have to say, when I walked through that door, I can't believe how luxurious it is. Certainly a far cry from the camping days that I remember.
So let's go back a bit. What do you actually remember about caravanning as kids?
Okay, so a lot of my memories was sort of Dad's regimented approach before we even went on the journey, where we were all given very specific chores and tasks to do. And then there was that excitement and buzz just beforehand where we were given 50p to go to Mr. Canty. Yeah, and that was inflation because our pocket money was normally about sort of 15 pence.
We could get a lot of money, a lot of sweets for 50p, I remember.
Yeah, a good quarter of Tom Thumbs that normally sort of congealed and stuck together.
Or
on
the
rhubarb
and custard.
Indeed, yeah, no, absolutely. And it was so exciting, so we'd always go race to the Mr. Canty sweet shop and get our sweets. And then the other thing was I just love the social side. We sort of all became feral and we were allowed to be out in the dark and racing around playing football, and it just felt so free.
And did you enjoy it, or did you feel that you were dragged away by mum and dad?
Nope, I never ever felt dragged away because there was so much variety, whether it was pouring with rain in Cornwall or the chilly temperatures of Aviemore when we used to go skiing.
That's cold.
Yeah, indeed. It was always an adventure.
Oh, that's fantastic. And any funny or memorable moments that you want to share?
Okay, so I think this is probably my earliest memories of caravanning. And Dad had, was it a Linton?
We had a Linton, yes, that's correct.
That's right, Linton Caravan. And it had this plastic protective layer over the carpet.
The mustard coloured carpet.
Yeah, the hideous mustard coloured carpet. I mean, actually, initially, I thought that was the flooring. So, and over time, it got a bit sort of dogged round by the round the door area. Yeah. So that area was always a bit dappled where the dirt sort of got through. And then just before we sold the Linton, Dad finally decided to pull up this plastic to reveal this pristine mint carpet that he thought he'd been preserving, but in fact it was sort of all very patchwork.
It was, I remember. Yeah, that's lovely.
And in fact the plastic was nicer than the mustard carpet.
Before this trip, what did you actually think about caravanning?
Well, to be honest, I've always thought of it as being like really labour intensive. You know, you've got to have your checks, you've got to do your maintenance all year round. It's not just, you know, just during the holidays. So yeah, all the checks, all the packing, all the maintenance. But I guess you get, you know, the more you do it, the more systematic you become. And knowing you, Sammy, you will have a spreadsheet.
I love a spreadsheet.
That'll cover everything that needs doing. So I guess you get better at that.
I'm good at my checklists and my spreadsheets. It's the organised person that I am. Now, be honest here. Did you think it would be a bit cramped or a bit outdated?
I was shocked, I have to be honest, when I stepped through the door and saw how techy it was. But knowing you, I know you're a very techy person, yes. So it's not really surprising that we have, you know, all the mod cons.
She's the arty twin, I'm the techie twin.
Yes, so well, it's absolutely amazing. It's so palatial, and you know, even to the point of furry walls, which I absolutely love.
And now that you're here, what surprised you the most?
Um, I think, when I entered this space, sort of going back in time, what surprised me was the convenience of not having to press the foot pump to get water, and warm water as well as cold water.
And it's
Absolutely.
certainly warm in this caravan, the water.
Yeah, and while we're on heat, the heating. I've got memories of sort of absolutely shivering and waking up in the morning and all your clothes are damp.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's. And what's better than you expected?
Well, the step up, for example, because my memories of getting into a caravan was an upturned beer crate that my dad conveniently fashioned into a step up to the
He did
caravan.
like doing his DIY, did Dad?
Mm.
Yes. And it was quite a handy crate, wasn't it? Because I seem to remember there was times when we'd come back from trips from Spain,
Mm.
and my dad would use the the crate to put the bottles in, which
Yeah,
was
for
quite
a
handy.
very versatile tool. Yeah.
It certainly was. You don't see them anymore, funnily enough. And what's maybe not as good as you thought?
Well, probably the fact that it doesn't have a step that you can turn into a wine rack. So, although having said that, I noticed you even have wine storage.
Yes, I have to say, on
Mm.
this Bailey Unicorn Vigo, we actually have a wine rack. But I would say don't travel with your wine in it when we're on the move, because obviously you'll end up with all your wine on the floor.
Yeah, we don't want any unnecessary spillages.
Certainly not. Okay, Mickey, big question.
Mhm.
Do you see yourself getting a caravan?
Do you know, I might be tempted by a camper van.
Okay, what would stop you getting a caravan?
I think probably it would be the towing because I've got a long wheelbase van. So I'm not, I'm okay with driving that, but I think it's the towing element with a caravan.
And that's interesting that you say that, because yesterday, here at the site, I was chatting to a couple on the pitch next to me, and they had a lovely camper van, and I did have to go and have a little look at their lovely camper van. And I asked them, they were quite new to this industry, and they said the reason why they didn't get a caravan was because they didn't want to do the towing. And I know that there's a lot of people are very concerned about that, makes them nervous. But what I would say is there's some fantastic courses out there, run by both the Camping and Caravanning Club and by the Caravan and Motorhome Club, and they're well worth going on. I've been on them myself. They're very intense, and they will tell you everything you need to know about towing, the legalities. But also, I know reversing is probably the one thing that scares people the
Mm,
most about
yeah.
caravanning. That they can be a little bit tricky to reverse. I certainly struggle sometimes myself. But the great thing is you can get motor movers for caravan, and they make the whole thing so much easier. And although I'm not going to condone it, but some kids like playing with them because it's like having a remote control
What's
caravan.
better than
What
that?
child wouldn't want to play with that? And sometimes I have to fight over my husband who's going to be manoeuvring the caravan. So that's that. Who do you think caravan is best suited for?
Personally, I think it's really everyone. I mean, it's great for young adults because it's budget friendly, but
Mm-hmm.
equally it's great for families because it's budget friendly. I like the kind of spontaneity of the fact that you can just sort of get up and travel, whereas when you're booking hotels, it's often you're limited with when you can go, whereas I think that freedom and spontaneity definitely helps. And being someone who has spent a lot of time in the outdoors in a tent, it's a lot more comfortable than a tent.
And I used to tent myself, but I got fed up of sleeping on the floor, and I got fed up of putting a tent up in the rain and putting a tent down in the rain.
Yeah, the
And
leaks.
that is what got me to get a caravan. Also because I'd caravanned as a child, and well, I absolutely love it. So yeah, that's great. And do you think it's good value compared to other types of holidays?
So to be honest, that's a question I think I'd have to fire back to you because I genuinely don't know.
And I think we all have an opinion on this. Personally, I mean, obviously, with the cost of fuel is rising, that can be a bit of a constriction, I suppose, but so are flight prices going up because of this fuel crisis. But what I'd say is I think it's great value for money. You can go away, whether you go to Europe traveling with your caravan or your motorhome, or in the UK, which I have to say, when you just look through this window here and see views like that, it's well worth it. By the way, we are travelling at Easter, hence the Easter egg and the Easter bunny. We thought we'd bring them along.
Eric
the bunny.
Eric the Easter bunny.
Easter bunny, yeah. So I personally think that caravanning is better value, and especially for families. We were a family of 6, and we would never have been able to go away on package holidays abroad if we were going on package flying and all that. So we got the caravan because it made it more affordable for us as a family, and hence, as Micky said earlier, we used to go off to Spain for a month. So
and
we were very
that
lucky.
was the bonus. And we also used to go up to Aviemore with a caravan skiing.
That was lovely.
I think we got more holidays
yes,
because we had a caravan.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there you go. You're welcome to put in the comments below if you've got any thoughts on that. It'd be interesting to hear your comments. This is a quick fire round. We're going to have no overthinking of this. So you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Best things about this trip?
The company.
Of course. Yeah. Anything else?
Oh, the sun's out. I wasn't expecting the sun to be out. I'll be absolutely honest. We did get the sound of the rain though on the first night,
which you said you really liked.
Love that.
That was a memory from childhood.
Yeah, I love the sound of the rain.
Okay, next one. Top packing items, Micky.
Okay, right. So I think it's really important. This is top of my list. If it's cold, you want a good red wine. If it's like today and the sun is out, then you want a nice chilled freeze net.
That is
sparkling wine, any sparkling wine, to be frank. Okay, so there's that. Now my second choice would be, I love reading. I read.
She is an English teacher.
Yeah, read endlessly. So I like to make sure I have my reading book. And then I found another one which I found equally useful and incredibly engaging. So yeah, those would be my top items.
Very useful for anybody that's new to caravanning or wants to just learn more about caravanning. So,
indeed.
And those books, by the way, or should I say the Caravan Handbook, is available on Amazon or on my website, which I'll put a link below. A little bit of advertising there. And who's the better caravanner, me or you?
Well, it's going to have to be you.
Of course. I've got a lot more experience, I think, than Micky. And what's your job on this trip, Micky?
Well, obviously to keep the wine stocks aplenty. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, final thoughts. Has this trip changed your mind on caravanning?
Well, not really, because I've always had such fond memories of caravanning. So no, I don't think so. However, I do like the arrive and drive option because you were always the organised one, and I was always there to provide the entertainment. Yeah, I've been very pleasantly surprised by how fabulous it's been.
Oh, excellent. And one word to describe caravanning?
Freedom.
Absolutely, that's a really good one. So there you go, caravanning through fresh eyes. If you've never tried it, give it a go, try it out, see what you think. Now, if you have found this interesting, I do my own social media videos on site reviews, motorhome caravan reviews, practical tips, all sorts. So please subscribe, comment below on what you think, and hopefully I'll see you again. Thank you very much for watching.